Good evening, friends. Today, let us start the GST classes. So, first and foremost, we need to understand about tax. We need to understand about the taxes. Okay, fine. Let me share the screen. Share the screen. Sharing. Okay. So, yeah, it's coming. So now, now let's look at about the word tax. Okay, the tax. See, if you understand the tax, tax is nothing but money. First thing, what is tax? Tax is nothing but money. Nothing but money. Okay. So this tax is a money imposed on individuals. Okay. That means common people like you and me. Okay. And organizations. Organization means companies, partnership firms, LLPs, association of persons, body of individuals, all those things. Okay. Organization means all other enterprises, all other enterprises, all other enterprises. Okay. So basically, it is a money imposed on individuals and organizations by whom? By government. Okay. So by government is imposing the money on individuals and organizations. Okay. So what is this? Tax is nothing but money. Okay. So and one more feature of the taxation is tax is charge. That means tax is a charge. Tax is a charge. So that means it is compulsory. That means it is compulsory. Okay. So it is not a voluntary donation. Tax is not a voluntary donation. If you and me, if we likes, we will pay. Otherwise, we won't pay. We'll keep quiet. That will not work with taxes. Okay. Because it is imposing. It is a charge. It is imposing on us by the government. Okay. That means it is a mandatory. Okay. This is compulsory. This is mandatory. Okay. And you should not say to the government, now I do not have any job. I will pay the taxes this year taxes next year whenever I get a later years whenever I get a job. You should not say that, and you should also not say my taxes will be paid by my sister. My taxes will be paid by my parents or my spouse. Okay, you should not say that. Okay, so what are the features of the tax? Tax is nothing but money. Tax is compulsory. Okay, and there is one more feature for tax that is called when you pay tax, you will not get anything in return. You will not get anything in no return. Okay, that means no quid pro quo. That means when you pay the tax, you will not get anything in return. Okay, max you may get an award from the income tax department for properly paying the taxes or highest taxpayer, honestly paying the taxes or ethically paying the taxes, max to max. Okay, you may get the award. Okay, or max to max you may get your loan processing very quickly, or max to max you may get your visa processing quickly. Okay, apart from that there are no direct benefits you will be getting by paying the taxes. Okay, fine. That means it's no quid pro quo. That means you will not get anything in return. Okay, you will not get anything in return. Okay, fine. So what are the, so it is a money. Tax is nothing but a money. It is compulsory. Okay, and you will not get anything in return. Okay, so these three are the characters. There is one more characteristics. So whenever government is collecting the taxes, okay, whenever government is collecting the taxes by whatever name it may call, whether the tax may be GST, our topic of discussion, goods and service tax, whether the tax may be income tax, whether the tax may be property tax, whether the tax may be property tax, there will be taxability aspect. What there will be? There will be taxability aspect. There will be taxability aspect. Okay, which is known as charging section. Which is known as charging section. Okay, for your example, for your better understanding purpose, GST is a goods and service tax. Okay, the tax. That's what we have seen now. That's what we have seen now. What is tax? Tax is nothing but money. It is a compulsory. It is a compulsory thing, and you will not get anything in return. And there should be some separate chargeability for this. Okay. For GST, what is the chargeability? First thing, GST is a tax. Okay. There is no doubt in that. Okay. What is the taxability aspect in GST? Goods and service. When you supply it, when you supply it, then the tax will be charged. That tax is called as goods and service tax. Okay. What is the taxable aspect? When you supply the goods and service and the government will be imposing some kind of money on you, that money is called GST, goods and service tax. Okay. Like that, for income tax, separate chargeability will be there. For each and every tax, there will be separate chargeability. Okay. So this is about taxes. Okay, which is the most important word. Okay, which is most important word. As we all knows that our topic of discussion is goods and service tax. Okay, in that woe, in that path. Okay. As we all knows that our point of discussion is goods and service tax. In that path, we have seen the meaning of taxes and the important characteristics of the taxes. Okay. Now let's continue our discussion. Okay. What is our discussion? Goods and service tax. So just now we have discussed about this. Just now we have discussed about this. Now we need to discuss about goods and services, which we will definitely do after some point of time. Okay, after some point of time. Now let's see the background of this. Okay, let's see the background, and very much important to understand the indirect taxes. Okay, since GST is an indirect tax, this is very much important to understand the indirect taxes. Okay, this may not be very much important for direct taxes, but this is very much important for direct taxes. Okay, so what is this? Federal system of India. For better understanding of the GST, we need to understand the federal structure of India. Okay, Indian governance. Okay, structure we should understand. Let me share the screen. Yes. Let me share the screen. Yes, I think it is visible. Okay. Look at this one. Federal system or federal structure. Governance structure. Okay. Governance structure. Okay. So in India, our country is, we are very proud of that. We have two types of governments. One is central government and one is state government. Okay. Each are independent. Okay. Now, central government forms through the party which wins the majority of MP seats will form the central government, and the party which wins the majority of state MLAs will form the state government. Okay, so the most important thing for central government, the legislative body will be the parliament. Okay, for state government, the legislative body will be the state assemblies. The legislative body will be the state assemblies. One thing you need to understand here is, okay, the legislative body, the function of this legislative body is to make the acts. Make the acts. and pass the acts. Pass the acts. Okay. So any acts, any law will be passed in the legislative bodies only. Any law will be passed in the House of Legislatives. Okay. So in our country, there are two types of legislative bodies are there. One legislative body belongs to central government, which is parliament, and one legislative body belongs to each and every state, that is state assembly. So what is the most important function of those bodies is to make a laws and pass a laws. Okay. Okay. Fine. So this just remember for a while, remember for a second. We will connect this in our future discussions. Yes. There is one article called Article 265 to Constitution of India. It says no tax shall be levied except by authority of law. Okay. No tax shall be levied except by authority of law. That means what where it says Article 265 to Constitution of Article 265 to Constitution of India. Okay. What it says, no tax shall be levied except by authority of law. Okay. Clear? Yes. Now what happens? So what is the meaning of that? If there is no law, if there is if there is no law, there will not be any tax. That means if you want to collect the taxes, there should be proper backup for that. What is that backup? That is the backup is law. Okay. Now in our previous discussion, we have seen who are the lawmaking authorities. Who are the lawmaking authorities? There are two types of lawmaking authorities in our country. Okay, in our previous based on our previous discussion, what are the types of how many types of lawmaking authorities are there? There are two types of lawmaking authorities. Okay, two types of legislative bodies are. One is parliament. One is state assembly. One is parliament. One is state assembly. That means you can either pass the act in a parliament and you can collect the tax. That's what it is saying. No, if you have a law, you can collect the tax. If you want law, what you have to do? You have to pass the law in parliament, or you have to pass the law in state assembly. Okay. Now what happens? Now parliament belongs to whom? Central government. State assembly belongs to whom? State government. Okay. Now who doesn't want money? For whom, to whom money is bitter? Everyone wants money. Okay. Go and ask central government. They also says that I want money. Go and ask state governments. They also says that they also want money. Everyone wants money. So now what happened? Central government says, I want to collect GST. Central government says, I want to collect GST. State government says, why you are only want to collect the GST? Even I have authority to make laws. Even I have authority to make laws through my assembly. So even I want GST. I want GST. Okay. The dispute has been arisen for the purpose of taxes. Every government says that they want taxes because yes, they're legally they can pass the act. Okay. Now they these things may frequently happen. Correct or not? These things may frequently happen. For this, the solution has been given. For this solution has been given again in Constitution of India only. Again in Constitution of India only. Okay. What is that solution? The solution is Article 246 read with Schedule 7. Article 246 read with Schedule 7 to Constitution of India. The solution has been given to this only. Okay. What it says, we'll see. Okay. Well, all right. Now we have understood that since both the government has legislative powers, there has been dispute arisen. There has been dispute arisen between them for the purpose of taxes. Okay. So to resolve that, the government has introduced Schedule 7 to Constitution of India along with Article 246. Okay. So what Article 246 is speaks about, it divides the powers. Previously they were quarreling now for powers. Now the division has been made. Okay. In what form the division has been made? The division has been made in form of union list, state list, concurrent list. Okay. So where it has been done, it has been done in Schedule 7 to Constitution of India. Okay. So union list means only central government. Okay. Only central government has exclusive power on this subject matters. Okay. For example, okay. For example, we have railways. Okay. We have atomic energy, atomic and nuclear energy. We have external affairs. We have external affairs, and we have defense. Okay. On all these subject matters like that, 100, nearly approximately 100 subject matters are there. So in all these subject matters, who can make the decisions, who can create the acts, who can pass the acts? Only central government. Only central government. And state governments has no role in this. Okay. No role in these areas. Okay. Whatever central government take, that is fine. Okay. And like that, this is union list or central list. Okay. And we have something called state list also. What are the examples of the state list? Like agriculture, irrigation, police. All these things are there. In this subject matter, these are state specific. Okay. Central government has no role in these matters. Okay. Like that, we have concurrent list also. One of the best example of concurrent list is GST. One of the best example of concurrent list is GST. That means for goods and service tax, both the central government has right and also state government is also having right. Okay, that's why it is there in the, and GST should be there in concurrent list. Okay, GST should be there in concurrent list. That means both the government has a right to make an acts. Okay, that's why there is something called CGST and there is something called SGST. Okay, this CGST came from CGST Act, CGST Act 2017. This SGST came from SGST, respective SGST Acts 2017. Okay, for Andhra Pradesh SGST Act. For Karnataka SGST Act will be there, like that for all states and union territories. Okay, clear? Now you understood what is the purpose of, what is the underlying reason for the creation of CGST, what is the underlying reason for making payment of SGST. Okay, you know now. Now you understood the purpose. Okay, so far what we have discussed what is the meaning of taxes and what are the important characteristics of the taxes. Yes, and we have also seen the importance of federal structure in India. The takeaway point in federal structure is we have two types of governance structures in our country. One is central government, one is state government. Each government are independent to each other, independent to one another. Each government has legislative bodies to make to pass laws. Okay. Yes. Now there is one article called 265. We jump to article 265 that says that if there is no law, if there is no authority of law, and you should not collect the taxes. Okay. That means prima facie, if you want to collect the taxes, you should have the one proper law. Now things come into the rescue. Both central government and state government are hurry in passing acts and collecting the taxes. Okay, if both governments wants to collect same thing simultaneously, Since that is money, their dispute has been arisen. To resolve that, the again Constitution of India has given the Article 246. That means division of powers. So it is divided in the powers into union list, state list, congruent list. Union list means only central government has power to make laws. State government means only state governments, respective state governments has power to make laws. Congruent means both the governments can make laws. Okay. Now our GST belongs to congruent list, and there is something called income tax. Okay. This income tax belongs to which you will be studied. Okay. Paper 3A. Okay. You will be studied income tax. Okay. This income tax belongs to central government. Okay. It is there in union list. Okay. It is there in union list. Okay. That's why it is money is been taken by central government. For GST, money is being taken by both state government and central government. Okay, all right. Now we know that in India we have two types of taxes which are broadly classified into. One is direct taxes, one is indirect taxes. One of the example of direct taxes is income tax. Sorry, one of the examples of indirect tax is goods and service tax. Okay. Now let's try to see the differences, main differences between these direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes is a progressive in nature. Progressive in nature. That means income tax for the person, for suppose person 1 is there, person 2 is there. For person 1, he is earning 50 lakhs. Person 2, he is earning 100 lakhs. Okay. For person 1, let's suppose the tax is 15 lakhs. The person 2, the tax will be more than 15 lakhs. That means more than 15 lakhs, that it may be anything. Okay, 30 lakhs. Okay, fine. That means the more you earn, the more tax you need to pay. Okay, so income tax is progressive means it's directly related to your income. Okay, if you earn more, more tax. If you earn less comparatively to that of other person, then you require to pay the less tax. That is called as progressive nature. That means here is ability to pay. Ability to pay. Now, regressive. Indirect tax is what? Regressive in nature. What is mean by regressive in nature? Okay, they don't consider your ability to pay. Okay, for suppose Ambani buys this pen for 100 rupees. Okay, let us assume that GST rate is 10%. Okay, the GST on this pen will be 10 rupees. Ambani will pay GST 10 rupees. Okay, even if I buy the pen or you buy the pen, you are required to pay the same 10 rupees. That means even though Ambani has more paying capacity, more ability to pay, but still, even though I have less ability to pay when compared to Ambani, but still both the people are making same payments. Both the people are doing same taxes. Okay, that is called as regressive in nature. That is called as regressive in nature. Directly paid to government. In case of direct tax, what happened? You pay directly to government. Okay, that means for suppose I am earning 15 lakhs income, I have to pay 1 lakh rupees as tax. Assume this 1 lakh rupees I have to register into income tax website and I have to file the return and make the payment. Okay, that means myself has to log in into income tax website and need to make the payment of myself or on my behalf consultant. Anything, okay? That will be done through my username and password. That will be done through my credentials. Okay, that means in direct tax, directly paid the money to government. Okay, in case of indirect taxes, what happened? GST, we pay the taxes through intermediaries. Okay, we pay the taxes through intermediaries. You no need to register. In case of indirect taxes, final consumer on whom the tax, the whom our taxes are paying, they no need to get registered. Okay, for suppose I buy the air condition. Okay, for the purpose of using it my home. Okay, I buy the air condition for 50,000 rupees. On that I pay 5,000 rupees as GST. That 5,000 rupees I no need to pay to government directly, unlike income tax. Okay, I have to pay to my seller. Seller will pay to government. Sorry, seller will pay to the government. That's why myself I am only paying 5,000. Okay, the recovery ultimately happening through me only, but recovery is ultimately happening or collecting ultimately happening from me only, but payments are done through intermediaries. Payments are done through intermediaries. Okay, fine, understood. Yes, that is indirect tax. Okay, now what happens in case of direct taxes burden? Okay, for suppose X is paying. Okay, X is having of 15 lakhs. He is paying 1 lakh rupees as tax. Okay. Who is here? X. Okay. The recovery is happening from X only directly. And the burden is also falling on X only directly. Because he himself has to register in income tax website. He himself has to pay the taxes. Okay. In case of indirect taxes, what happened? I am purchasing the AC. For suppose I am X. X purchased the AC from Retail Z. Okay. Private Limited. Okay. So I am paying 5,000 rupees to Retail Z as GST along with the cost of the product I purchased. Retail Z will pay to government. Okay. Here what happens? Final incidence is falling on me only. There is no doubt in that because myself is paying 5,000. But payment is, the burden is temporarily shifting to, the burden is temporarily and the recovery is temporarily shifting to intermediaries. Okay. Temporarily shifting to intermediaries such as manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers. Okay, this is the what we are going to study in our further discussions. Okay, so these are the main differences between direct taxes and indirect taxes. One of the best example for direct tax is income tax. One of the best example for indirect tax is goods and service tax. Okay, fantastic. Okay, now let's see what are the different types of taxes charging in India briefly. Let me share the screen. Yes, have screen is visible. Yes. So different types of taxes collecting in India. Direct taxes. Okay. Direct taxes. We have income tax. Okay. We have, so this corporate tax also part of income tax. Securities transaction tax. If you purchase the shares or sell the shares through recognized stock exchange, you have to pay the security transaction tax on purchase value and sale value. Capital gains tax also part of Income Tax Act 1961. Gift tax also part of Income Tax Act 1961. Wealth tax is abolished. It is not there in India. Indirect taxes, currently all this service tax, VAT, all these things, outright duty, okay, and sales tax, all these are subsumed into goods and service tax. Customs duty is still there, is one of the indirect taxes which you will be studying in final level. In case of CMA Inter, which you will be studying briefly now itself. This customs duty, this is the tax you paid on import of goods. Property tax, this other tax you pay on property. Registration fees, yes. Toll tax, when you get registered, you have to pay registration fees. Toll tax, registration of properties, I mean to say. Toll tax, education cess, and income tax you pay. Health and education cess 4%. Entertainment tax subsumed into GST. Professional tax is still it is there 200 rupees per person. per month. Entertainment tax also subsumed in GST. Okay. Now our topic of discussion is GST, goods and service tax. We already know, we have already discussed about tax. We are yet to discuss about the what is meant by goods, what is meant by services from the perspective of from the Goods and Service Tax Act, CGST Act 2017. All right. With this, we are ending the basic introduction, which is most important for better understanding of the remaining indirect taxes, remaining goods and service taxes, especially